Welcome back to It's Not a Sport. Alright, hello and welcome to this week's episode of It's Not a Sport. First off, I want to congratulate Clan Redeem for finishing being world's first on the Destiny 2's Last Wish Forsaken raid, which came out last Friday. It took them a total of 18 hours and 48 minutes to complete this raid, which is absolutely ridiculous. I'm pretty sure it's the longest raid or first time completion in Destiny's history. So they should be proud of themselves, and that's actually a huge accomplishment. In terms of esports, in the Overwatch World Cup, in the South Korea League, South Korea is in first, then Finland, and then Russia. In the United States, USA is in first, then Canada, and then Brazil. In Thailand, China's first, then Australia, then Denmark. And in the France League, they haven't played yet. So I believe Thailand just finished this week, and then next week should be France, and then we should be able to move to BlizzCon, which will be playoffs. In terms of League of Legends, all divisions are all finished up, and they're ready and preparing for Worlds. So the Gauntlet just finished up. The teams that will be going for South Korea are KT Roster, which is their first place seed, then Afrika Freaks, and then Gen G, which Gen G is last year's World's Championship. For China, Royals Never Give Up, and Symphatis Gaming, and Edward Gaming. For Europe, Fnatic, Team Vitality, and G2. For North America, Team Liquid, 100 Thieves, and Cloud9. For the LMS, which is Taiwan, Hong Kong, Flash Wolves, Mad Team, and their last play-in team is to be decided. Vietnam is to be decided. Brazil, CIS, Japan, Latin America's North, Latin American South, those are all play-in teams. So basically, because they're smaller divisions, they all have to battle for a spot at Worlds. But we'll get into that for a second. For this week, we're going to talk about Nintendo Direct. They really pulled out all the stops, and there's a lot of exciting news. We're also going to talk about what to look forward to going into Worlds 2018 for League of Legends. Let's get into it. So let's start with Worlds 2018. Worlds is a big time in League of Legends esports. It's a time where every region, so to speak, tests their mettle. Where every region gets to really throw their hat in the ring and, see who comes out, on top. At the end of the day, we all know that it's going to come out on top, and if it's not going to be Korea, then it's going to be China. But it's always to see, especially I think if you're a smaller region, to see how far you can battle the odds and see how far you can get. It generally lasts around 2 months, and it generally happens around November, September, and October. This week's the World starts, I believe, plans start October 1st, so next month, so we're not that far off. This Worlds, I think, as an NA player, I think that it is going to be extremely difficult for us. First off, the history of NA is that we've never really made it out of group stages. We've always kind of, as they put it, shit the bed. And it was really hard to just watch, as a North American fan, to watch that. And then if you watch Rift Rivals this year, it was really hard to watch how Europe basically stomped all of our teams except Team Liquid. So so with our past record and this year and how the NALCS has been going on, where like all the teams have been completely even for a very long time, I do not think that we are totally going to succeed. I think we are going to remain bottom of the barrel, and well, this is what's most likely to happen. On the other hand, I think that we can definitely have a good chance of winning because Team Liquid is a team that has experience. I would only bet on Team Liquid and Cloud9. I wouldn't bet on 100 Thieves. I think they're too new to really be here in world scene. They won off of championship points, and that's why they're here. But Team Liquid, I think, has the experience, and Cloud9 has the determination that they've always had going into Worlds. We've also seen that Korea is a lot weaker than they were a couple years ago because people have gotten better, and yeah, I mean, Faker's not going to be at Worlds for the first time in forever. It's really surprising. So, like, just them as a region, they're not as strong as they used to be. I don't really keep up with China as much, but I would suspect a lot of, strong things coming out of China, as well as maybe Taiwan. And what I expect for Europe is to, again, just like last year's Worlds, I think one of the most iconic games from last year's World was Misfits versus SKT, and just how well they had just played around the really shitty Worlds meta that they had to play in, where it's just Arden Sensor whose AD can survive the best and how long can you go, and just how well they adapted that meta into something else. I think will always be such an iconic game. And I think that's why Europe also, like, if you're an NA fan, still vote, cheer for NA. But I think put your hopes in Europe because even they're basically our sister nation, or our sister region. And if they're going to push the boundaries, it's definitely going to be them. So Worlds this year it's October to November. It's basically a month, and it's basically an entire month. Play-in stages will start October 1st to the 4th and 6th to the 7th. These are generally teams that are from smaller regions, and they play to, actually participate in the real tournament. It's 12 teams total. This year, Worlds also takes place in South Korea again. In my opinion, it should take place in somewhere different, but, that's kind of where the market is, I assume, so that's why it's in South Korea. Then after plans, we go to group stages, which is from October 10th to 17th, and then qualifiers, which is the 20th to the 21st. That's generally where the fighting really happens, because that's when everyone's basically trying to get into the top. It's 24 teams total, so they're trying to get into the top 5-ish, so to speak. So that's what group stages and qualifiers are about. So that's generally where you'll want to watch all the games. Those are the games you want to look forward to, or at least start watching. And then we go into semifinals, which will be the 27th to the 28th. And also, then we go into the finals, which will be November 3rd. So it's going to be, I believe this year's Worlds also has a shorter time period for players to adapt, which I think also it just brings down the quality overall of the tournament. I think also League for this entire the last metas have just been awful, and for me at least, it hasn't been fantastic to watch competitively. So I think if we can see new, different types of play styles being used, it would benefit League as a whole, and it'd be a great spring roll into the next season of League of Legends. I'm gonna stress this. Like, I think NA is at a huge disadvantage going into Worlds, especially now since this was our first year where we only had best of ones, and they're playing They should be playing best of threes at Worlds. That's what they generally do, and then from best of threes, once you get into like semifinals, then you play best of fives. But we're not specialized, and especially these new teams like 100 Thieves. Like I say again, is not specialized in best of threes. They're specialized in, best of ones because that's what they're used to playing. Especially the new rookies that are coming in. And there's a lot of new rookies that are on Cloud9. They're used to kind of best of ones and best of threes. So I think it should be a fun tournament. I think it really this world holds more than the previous worlds do. I think it really has to really be successful, and we really have to see some good games to really be entertained, to be excited for the next season of League of Legends. Because right now, I think a lot of players feel that the game's kind of stale, and that solo queue is just not fun, and it's only probably fun to play League of Legends if you're playing at that type of competitive level with actual teammates that and spend time with. Because for instance, I read a while ago that Faker was mad because now he's challenger, but he plays with master players or Diamond 1 players. I got into a game where yesterday, and it was just an auto loss because I'm a gold 5 player. I've been in gold for 2 seasons now. That's my average, and I got matched with everyone in my game was either unranked or bronze or silver last season. So just the quality of the games have gone down a lot, extremely, because of things like that and just tiny changes that they've made. So I think that this world really has to show that the quality has not gone down, and that the quality has gone up, not just for the game, but competitively also. And that's what will make this world very successful. Going into our next topic, there's a lot of good news that came out of Nintendo Direct. So if you don't know, every year Nintendo does this little press release. And within this press release, they basically announce games and projects that they're working on or working towards. It's like their mini E3, where they feel like, where E3 they like to, announce things and show it off, but Nintendo will never announce anything or show it off if they deem it not ready. So this is probably the announcements that people were looking for at E3. And now they're obviously ready to announce it. The first one being Animal Crossing for the Switch. Animal Crossing is a game that I personally have never played, but I know of it because people loved Animal Crossing. It was apparently extremely fun and extremely addicting. And I remember a lot of people were requesting it for the Switch during E3 2018, back in June. So it's really cool to actually see Animal Crossing and, see them that announced it. It wasn't really anything fantastic. It was just a short little teaser saying that it will be arriving in 2019 of next year. Also, because, they have to, Isabelle, which is a character from Animal Crossing, is being added in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, which comes out in November, I believe. It comes out 2 months from now. It comes out very soon, actually. So, if you're ready for Smash Bros., because I know I am, You don't have to wait long. And I'm ready to get my ass whooped and whoop other people's ass because they're doing it. They're putting all in into Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it looks great. When I played it, it felt great. So I highly recommend you just look forward to that because it's gonna be, it's gonna be balling. From that, they have Luigi's Mansion 3, which is honestly a surprise for me. Uh, Luigi is a character that I feel like a lot of people have respect for, but don't really care about as much as Mario. I'm actually, as I would like to see a different Luigi IP, so to speak, than Luigi's Mansion. I know people really like Luigi's Mansion from the old days, but I would like to see a different Luigi IP. And I think this is also, it's good to do a Luigi game to follow up Mario Odyssey, because Mario Odyssey was super successful, and it was super successful in the speedrunning community also. The speedrunning community loves Mario Odyssey. I've watched speedrunners run that game. I watched them run it at STGQ. It was, it's insane. And even I try to, a little bit try to see, how can I speedrun Mario Odyssey a little bit. So I think that getting a Luigi game and Luigi's Mansion is definitely a benefit. It's definitely a benefit. It's definitely something I think people will want. Something people will enjoy. I just wish that it was more a different IP for Luigi. We also get, and I think this is probably one of my favorite ones, and this would have been perfect for me a year ago. So a year ago, I was attending Shimer College, which is now out in North Naperville. I live in Chicago. I had to take the train, which is an hour metro train ride from Chicago to Naperville every day. It was a pain in the ass, but it was also very, very enjoyable because during that train ride, I sat down and I played one of the best games I ever played in my entire, and well, not I want to say my entire life, but it's definitely up there in top 20, so to speak. One of my top 20 games that I played, and that game was Final Fantasy VII. I enjoyed Final Fantasy VII a lot. It was a lot of fun, even though it's a very dated game. The storytelling and the music is just fantastic. And even though from a graphic standpoint, of course, it hasn't aged well, but for everything else, I think it's aged perfectly. And that just made me more excited for the Final Fantasy VII remake. So Final Fantasy VII, 9, 10, and 12 are coming to the Switch, which is, I had a Switch at the time, and during those train rides, I would also play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. If I had Final Fantasy VII on the Switch, it would have been a lot more convenient than playing it on my computer and not trying my computer to die. And it would have been a lot more convenient, and it would have been, very fun. But also getting, a classic like 7, and then getting more modern titles that people really love, like 10, is perfect. Because I know 7 is also, you can get it on your phone. You can get an app version of it. The Yoshi game, Yoshi's Crafted Worlds, got finally a full reveal. It's always been teased every once in a while, and honestly, I forgot about it. But again, it's kind of cool to see that it's still in the works and that it's finally, kind of coming out, and that they finally prepared to show it off. And then those are kind of the only games that we had. I think there's still really big releases that it's just happy to, that for me, I'm happy to know that Nintendo's still, working on bringing the games that we love to the Switch. And I feel like every passing day and every passing event, each company and each, everyone keeps supporting the Switch. in ways that they didn't support the Wii U, and letting it grow as a console, because arguably the Switch has grown the video game community and probably saved it in a lot of ways, and it definitely saved Nintendo. There's even, I read an article that Kingdom Hearts 3 will eventually also be ported to the Switch, which is, there's supposedly another Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer coming out, I believe, today, and the time of listening to this, which will be on Tuesday, the 18th of September. But there's also a Kingdom Hearts trailer that came out a couple days ago, which is also fantastic. So it's good to see that the Switch's roster is always continuing to grow. The other things that were also released at Nintendo Direct, and this is Nintendo Switch Online is now fully unveiled. It's basically their subscription service, and it comes with actually some really cool things. It comes with NES games. So if you don't know, Nintendo remade the NES and the Super NES, but they're selling like hotcakes. Like, they're impossible to get. So it's actually really cool to see that if you get Nintendo Online, which I believe you have to play like Super Smash Bros. And Splatoon 2 online, then you also get a lot of, NES games. And to complement that, not only for the Smash Bros. Players are they releasing the GameCube controller for the Switch, but they're also releasing the NES controller for the Switch. So you get to play again on that classic, I never played on it, but compared to modern controllers, it doesn't look great. Little button layout, iPhone tape recorder of a thing. And you get to play on that again on your Switch. And just seeing, that's really cool. And then also there's a new Super Mario Bros. U coming to the Switch. I'm pretty sure was the Wii U's Super Mario Bros. Seeing that port to the Switch is good, because I'm pretty sure that's a family-friendly game. I believe also Mario Party's supposed to come out to the Switch. There's some other games coming out for the Switch. Just Dance 2019, FIFA 19, Team Sonic Racing, NBA 2K19, NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, and Lego DC Super Villains. As well as they released or announced the next Splatoon 2 update, which Splatoon 2 is another huge title for the Switch right now, and it's been a huge title since its release. As well as some small tabletop games. So it's really good just to see it grow. That other companies want the Switch to grow. Looks like there's also an announcement that a new Pokemon game is in development, which we knew that the new Pokemon game was going to be for the Switch. Several Capcom classic games are coming to the Switch. They're just Civilization 6 on the Switch gets its first trailer, as well as City Skyliners available now on the Switch. And they showed off some of the Star Fox stuff for that Starlink game. And Assassin's Creed streaming on Switch in Japan. So it's good to see Nintendo and EA, which are arguably two of the worst video game companies, also, supporting the Switch now, since they never supported the Wii U. I think that the Switch will continue to grow, and it will continue to, just like Nintendo will always do, bring back classics that people loved growing up as a kid. It will also bring new updated classics like Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild. So new kids and kids who weren't able to play that because they weren't born yet, like me and my generation, can be caught up and play those games. and it will also continue to grow as a community console where co-op and you can just grab a friend on the go, or just play from anywhere. That's it. That's all we have for you today. Thank you. If there's a quick update I have to say is that I'm trying to still figure out my schedule. If you did not read the description last week, so school started for me, so it's nothing that big. So just trying to figure out the schedule thing. Anyway, let's move on. Thank you. Thanks for watching It's Not a Sport. Check out the links in the description where you can find everything and all sources of It's Not a Sport. Also check out the stream where you can find some quality content. This is Salty Waffles signing off, and tune in next week for another great episode.